From Atlanta, Georgia, welcome to Fearfully and Wonderfully Me, a podcast for women on leadership and life skills with Rhea Story. Rhea shares powerful life and leadership principles, helping you maximize your potential and become the woman God created you to be.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode on overcoming your inner 2-year-old. Today's episode is actually inspired by an audio I was listening to. Mac and I were speaking last week up in Myrtle Beach. We were speaking at a high school, a leadership private, or not private, but a leadership charter high school, and called the Leadership Academy. And we were speaking there to a group of high schoolers. And then we were also speaking at a large manufacturing organization on the next day. So two really great opportunities to pour into people last week. And as we were driving up, we were listening to an audio book in the car because we love to make the most of our time in the car and really be able to gain some opportunity to read or listening to something and that helps us equip us or learn something, just an opportunity to learn. So we're listening to an audio called the Servant Leadership Training Guide by James Hunter. And it's probably about a 4-hour episode. And the one thing that really resonated with me is what a principle he called overcoming human nature. Or as he said, he went on to describe it, basically human nature is, how we act as a 2-year-old. And if you're a parent, you can relate to that. Or if you've maybe seen 2-year-olds, or maybe, in your home, family, or community, you know that 2-year-olds haven't learned yet they haven't learned to have that filter, right? If they feel like crying, they sit down and cry. Or if they feel like getting mad or upset, they just do. Like, who we are as a human being just naturally comes out at 2 years old. We haven't yet learned how to filter that. So that's human nature, is what James Hunter said. And he goes on to say that we've got to overcome that 2-year-old tendency. And I loved that concept because I got to thinking about it. Really, our success in life and our ability to influence other people comes down to how much and how often we're able to overcome that inner 2-year-old. For example, getting out of bed this morning and probably going to work wasn't something your inner 2-year-old wanted to do, but if you want that paycheck, if you want the rewards from the job, then you've got to overcome the 2-year-old and get up when you don't feel like it, or maybe when you're tired and the alarm clock went off and boy, you really didn't want to get up. They say statistically Tuesday is the most difficult day to get up because Monday you're well rested from the weekend, and the rest of the days you start to look forward to the next weekend. But Tuesday, oh boy, Tuesday's the day that you don't want to really get up. And yet you did. You overcame your inner 2-year-old and got up out of bed, got ready, and maybe you're headed to work as you listen to this podcast this morning. My point being that anything we want in life, our success, our influence, is going to be achieved only when we're able to overcome that natural tendency, that inner 2-year-old that says, I don't feel like it, but I do it anyway. Daniel Goleman says the ability to control impulse is the base of will and character. And that's really what it comes down to, doesn't it? Having the character to do the things that we don't always feel like it because we know why we're doing it. We know the results and the rewards that come for it. It's much like exercise, right? I guarantee you, your inner 2-year-old does not feel like exercising every single day. And yet you've learned that exercise is an important factor for your health. And so you overcome that inner 2-year-old. And hopefully you do that enough to keep your health in a good state of affairs. And that's the secret, is that there isn't any secret. There isn't any magic pill for increasing our influence with others and becoming successful in life. it comes down to lots and lots and lots of choices over the course of our days, weeks, months, and years. Lots of opportunities to overcome what is our natural human nature. Our natural human nature, our natural 2-year-old, is to sit down when we don't feel like it. It's just that desire to say, today I'm not having a good day, so I'm going to stay in bed. Sure, we've all had days like that where, we didn't want to do something. And yet the character is, as Henry Cloud defines it, is the ability to meet the demands of reality, right? Character is saying, even though I don't feel like it, I know why I'm doing it. Zig Ziglar goes on, he has a great quote on this. He says, the foundation stones for a balanced success are honesty, character, integrity, faith, love, and loyalty. It's interesting. He pretty much mentions these other character attributes such as honesty and integrity, but really they are part of our character, right? Because character is who we are, and it's how we do everything that we do. And the choices that we make really contribute to our character, our ability to overcome that inner 2-year-old. Your inner 2-year-old wants to, sit on the couch and eat cake and ice cream every night. And yet, you know that you can't do that because it really does destroy your health. And so you overcome that 2-year-old and you eat your vegetables, most nights of the week. Maybe not every night. Nobody is perfect. But the more we're able to overcome that inner 2-year-old, the more successful we can be, because success lies on the other side of doing the things that we sometimes don't like to do. Another great quote by Zig Ziglar related to this is, when you do the things that you have to do, when you have to do them, the day will come when you can do the things you want to do when you want to do them. But we really, it comes down, our character comes down to the total of all of the choices that we make every single day. And that's what determines our character. And vice versa, our character is also determining what choices we make. Andy Stanley mentions this in his book, Like a Rock, and he says, character demands commitment to values. It really comes down to, what do we value most? And, do we value sitting around and feeding our inner 2-year-old, or do we value overcoming it and saying, I'm going to do what doesn't feel natural until it becomes second nature? And that was another point James Hunter made, is that human nature is giving into that inner 2-year-old, but we can do what doesn't feel natural, what doesn't come natural. And if we do that enough, it becomes second nature. And then we don't even have to think about it. I've talked before about the power of the habits that we create in our life, because those habits are so powerful. They make or break us, really, because a habit is a system that we have, made some choices, and we've really just gone on and thought about them and decided them. And then we've done them often enough that we create habits out of them. I really talked a lot about habits and harnessing habits in episode 54 back in February. So if that interests you, go back and listen to that episode, because I talk a lot about the power of harnessing habit. But, those habits are decisions that we make. We've done them often enough until we don't have to think about them anymore. For example, for me, exercise is a habit. At some point I realized that my inner 2-year-old didn't really like to get up early and exercise, but I loved the benefits of starting my day with intention, and sharpening the saw, as Stephen Covey calls it, in the physical dimension. And so, at some point I did it often enough, and regularly enough, that it just became a habit. And so pretty much, one of the first priorities, after I get up, I usually have my time for journaling and reflection, and maybe some reading, or maybe it's recording a podcast like this. But one of the first priorities fairly early in my day is to head out to exercise. Now that could be a lot of different ways. It might be going to the gym and doing some weight training, or maybe it's going for a run, but whatever that looks like, exercise is a habit. I've just made that commitment and turned that into a habit, so I don't think about it anymore. There's not a question of, well, do I feel like it today? Maybe I don't feel like it today. I don't even think about that, because if I stop to think about it, that inner 2-year-old starts to get a little bit louder in the back of your head, and every time we give it a voice, it gets louder and stronger. And when we overcome it, the inner 2-year-old learns to sit down and to play along. So I really loved that concept by James Hunter. So I just wanted to share that with you, because, the next time you think about it, maybe it's today, maybe it's tomorrow or next week, but the next time you feel that inner 2-year-old pitching a fuss, really wanting to sit down and throw a temper tantrum, just remember that every time you overcome that inner 2-year-old, you are one step closer to what you really want. Your success in life and your ability to influence other people really is determined by how often and how much we can overcome that inner 2-year-old. There's nothing wrong with being a 2-year-old, but as we grow, we realize our level of awareness grows, and we realize that just having those emotions are normal and natural, but acting on them doesn't usually serve us. So, there again, being proactive and responding on what we really value, based on just the emotions of the inner 2-year-old. Until next time.
Start increasing your influence and maximizing your potential with Ria's audiobooks. Available at audible.com, amazon.com, and iBooks. Please visit riastory.com to learn about Ria's books, resources, speaking, and training programs. Thanks for listening.